I grew up in a small Appalachian town where the mountains pressed in on every side, and the mist never seemed to lift from the hollers. My family's house sat at the edge of the woods, the kind of place where the wind could sound like voices if you listened too long. My granddad used to say, "The mountains remember everything." I never understood what he meant until the summer I turned 12. That was the year my cousin Eli vanished. He was 16, wild and restless, always sneaking out at night to meet friends or chase after ghost stories. One July evening, he told me he was going up the old logging trail behind our house, looking for the ruins of a settler's cabin he'd heard about from some older boys. He asked if I wanted to come, but I chickened out. I watched him disappear into the trees, flashlight bobbing, promising he'd be back before midnight. He never came back. The search parties combed the woods for days. Dogs, deputies, neighbors, everyone looking, everyone whispering. They found Ellie's flashlight, cracked and muddy, at the edge of a ravine, but no sign of him, not a shoe, not a scrap of clothing. My aunt clung to hope for months, but the rest of us knew the mountains had taken him, just like they'd taken others before. But what haunted me most was what I heard that first night after Eli vanished. I woke to the sound of footsteps crunching in the gravel outside my window. I thought it was Eli coming home late, but when I peeked through the curtains, I saw nothing but fog and the black outline of the woods. Then, just as I was about to crawl back into bed, I heard a voice, soft, hoarse, and not quite right, calling my name from the tree line. I froze, heart pounding, as the voice called again. "Come out here, please." I wanted to scream for my parents, but the words stuck in my throat. The voice sounded almost like Eli, but not quite. It was stretched, hollow, echoing in a way that made my skin crawl. I squeezed my eyes shut and waited for morning, praying the sun would burn away whatever was lurking out there. The next day, I told my granddad what I'd heard. He just nodded, his face pale. "Sometimes the mountain calls back what it's taken," he said, "but it's never what you hope for." He made me promise never to answer if I heard Ellie's voice again. That night, the voice came back, closer this time, right outside my window. I pressed my pillow over my ears, but I could still hear it, whispering, pleading, scraping at the glass. I didn't sleep at all. In the morning, I found muddy handprints on the outside of my window, too big to be Ellie's, too twisted to be human. I started to wonder if something else had come down from the mountain. A week later, my dog, Jasper, disappeared. He'd always been a good guard dog, barking at every stranger, but that night he just slipped out the back door and never returned. We found his collar snagged on a branch at the edge of the woods, but nothing else. My mom said maybe he'd run off after a deer, but I knew better. The woods were swallowing things, first Eli, now Jasper. I began to notice strange things in the forest. Sometimes I'd see shapes moving between the trees at dusk, tall, thin, and wrong. Once I found a circle of stones deep in the underbrush, with bones arranged in a spiral at the center. Another time I heard laughter echoing through the holler, but it was high-pitched and broken, like a tape played backward. One evening, I found a bundle of sticks tied with red string on our porch. My granddad snatched it up and threw it straight into the wood stove, muttering prayers under his breath. "That's a warning," he said. "Don't ever touch anything left for you by the woods." He started hanging old horseshoes and jars of salt above every door and window, and he wouldn't let me go outside after dark. But the mountain wasn't done with us. One night, a storm rolled in, thunder shaking the house. I woke to the sound of something scratching at the back door. I crept down the hallway, every board creaking under my feet, and saw muddy footprints leading from the door to the stairs. The prints were too large, the toes too long, and they reeked of rot and wet earth. I followed the trail up to the attic, where the door was hanging open. Inside, the air was freezing, and the only light came from the lightning flashing through the window. In the corner, I saw a shadow crouched low, rocking back and forth. I thought it was Eli for a split second, until it turned and I saw its face. It was stretched, pale, with eyes too wide and a mouth that hung open, jaw unhinged. It whispered, "Come with me. The mountain is waiting." I stumbled back, slamming the attic door and running to my granddad's room. He was already awake, clutching his old hunting rifle. "Don't open that door," he hissed. "No matter what you hear." We sat in silence until dawn, listening to the thing in the attic whisper and scratch, whisper and scratch. When the sun rose, the attic was empty, but the muddy footprints remained. After that, my granddad packed our bags. "We're leaving," he said. "Some debts can't be paid, and some places can't be saved." We left the mountains that day, never looking back. My aunt stayed, still hoping Eli would come home, but I knew better. Sometimes, late at night, I still hear his voice in my dreams, calling from the woods. And every time, I remember my granddad's warning: never answer when the mountain calls your name.